I'm gonna record this class, so because we are missing a lot of students, so they'll be able to watch what we had for today. Now, the first videos we're gonna talk about Adam Smith. Adam Smith was the father of the modern economy, era el padre de la economía moderna. Y él escribió, he wrote a book que se llamaba The Wealth of Nations, las riquezas de las naciones. En ese libro, ¿qué decía? En ese libro decía que todos los países eran ricos. ¿Por qué los países eran ricos y por qué otros países eran pobres? Eso es lo que menciona en ese libro y le explicaba el por qué esto sucedía. Entonces aquí, vamos a poner este primero sobre Adam Smith, que es escocés, es un estudioso escocés.
I'm James Otteson, professor of economics at Wake Forest University. This video, part of a Fraser Institute series on the key ideas of Adam Smith, based on my book, The Essential Adam Smith, provides a quick snapshot of Smith's life and work. Who was Adam Smith? Born in 1723 in Kirkcaldy, Scotland, Smith is widely recognized as the founding father of economics. At an early age in Scotland, Smith learned Latin, mathematics, history, and writing. And at 14, he entered the University of Glasgow to study moral philosophy before beginning postgraduate studies at the University of Oxford in England. Disenchanted with the quality of instruction, however, Smith left Oxford in 1746. He worked for a time as a public lecturer before returning to the University of Glasgow as a professor, where he eventually became the head of moral philosophy. His lectures laid the foundation for his first published book, The Theory of Moral Sentiments, which elevated Smith's reputation both in Britain and Europe. After 12 years in Glasgow, he resigned his professorship and toured Europe as a tutor for a young British aristocrat. He met many intellectuals, including Voltaire and the economist Francois Quesnay of the French physiocrats, who argued for fewer trade barriers and freer economies with less government regulation and lower taxes. His time in France was particularly important. While Smith had already developed his own similar ideas, the physiocrats likely helped shape his economic views. When Smith returned to Kirkcaldy in 1766, he was already a key figure of the Scottish Enlightenment, a period of great intellectual accomplishment. Smith devoted the next 10 years to write his most renowned work, The Wealth of Nations, which explored why some countries prosper while others languish in poverty. Published in 1776, it was an instant success, selling out its first edition in just 6 months, and it remains one of the most important and influential scholarly writings of the last millennium. In the days before he died, Smith asked his friends to burn his unpublished manuscripts, all 16 volumes, which likely explored the history of literature, philosophy, poetry, law, and government. As such, except for some essays and lectures, we are left only with his 2 published books, which together comprise a towering achievement in the history of Western thought. They contain insights as relevant today as our world becomes increasingly integrated by trade, finance, and commerce, as when they were written. To learn more about Adam Smith, visit...
Okay, let's stop right there. Okay, aquí hablaron entonces sobre Adam Smith, and he says that there is an invisible hand. Let me be more... I want to explain this with the PowerPoint that I have over here. This one. Let me go. Over here, I have a picture that talks about that invisible hand over here. This one. This is the PowerPoint. This information is already in your platform. So guys, so you need to remember, you have only 1 hour with me weekly. So it's up to you. You need to read all these PowerPoints are loaded up already in the system, and all the information is already in the system. So my advice for you is to read this before to arrive to class. Okay, so that's up to you guys. Now this is the invisible hand that he was talking about. Invisible hand. Now, and the invisible hands. He does different things in the commerce. For instance, it says the competition, los competidores and self-interest y sus intereses actúan as an invisible hand that regula el mercado libre, ¿ok? Es invisible. No es que una mano invisible, simplemente algo que no está allí, pero hace que todo funcione como debe funcionar. Ok, dice, los profit seeks, los beneficios se busca el productor will make more, hará que produzca mucho más. Las necesidades de la sociedad automáticamente se va a encontrar en ese mercado. Uy, se me fue. Now dice, the government does not get involved. En ese dice que, Adam Smith dice que el gobierno no debe inmiscuirse en las actividades comerciales entre el comprador y el productor. ¿Ya? ¿Por qué? Porque eso es lo que limita. Eso es lo que limita a que un país crezca. ¿Por qué? Porque el gobierno quiere estar controlando y no debe ser así. Según él, según Adam Smith. ¿Ok? The competition keeps quality high. La competencia mantiene la calidad alta y la competencia también mantiene el precio bajo. Eso es lo que dice en ese libro referente al Invisible Hand that talks about this famous writer, Adam Smith. As I said, he's one of the most important person in economics. Y si ustedes van a estudiar economía, van a encontrarse con este señor, Adam Smith, el padre de la economía moderna. Okay, I'm gonna close this chapter about this, and then I'm going to introduce you to the new chapter that is about the economic systems. Hay diferentes tipos de economías. Vamos a estudiarlas estas aquí a través de este video y ahí les va a explicar, it's going to explain you each one of these, the benefits and the advantages and disadvantages of each one of these. En el libro que nosotros estamos estudiando aparece solamente 3. Aquí aparecen 4, ¿ok? Así que no se preocupen, vamos concentrarnos en las 3. En la que es economía tradicional, la economía command, que es la comunista, que es la Unión Soviética, Cuba, y la última que es una mezcla, que es la que la mayoría de los países, majority of our countries, we develop in our system, okay? So let's watch it, guys. Please.
And really the reason that I want to do this is so that when you guys come into class on Friday, you've got some background information and you can very quickly get some ideas about how to make your videos. So when we look at the 4 different types of economic systems, there are 4 basic economic questions that each one answers. And the reason that they are different is because they each answer the questions differently. They look at what to produce, how to produce it, and for whom to produce it. Those are the 3 basic economic questions, and you need to be absolutely certain that you know what those questions are. Now, the first type of economic system is a traditional system. This is an economy based on custom. There are not very many of these left. In the past, this has been probably the most popular, the most prominent one, but there are not many of these left. These tend to be, in Eskimo culture or the Australian Aborigines or in some of these real isolated places that live on subsistence agriculture where they just grow enough for themselves. When they look at, in a traditional economic system, when they look at what to produce, it is the needs for survival. That's all they produce. They don't make extra. There's typically no kind of money or anything like that. How to produce it is basically through hunting and gathering. And then for whom to produce it, they make everything for themselves. So there's very little, if any at all, outside trade. They just make enough for themselves and for their family. And like I said, this is very difficult to find in the modern world. The second one is a command economy. In a command economy, the government is the entity that answers the questions of production. In deciding what to produce, the government makes that decision. In deciding how to produce it, the government plans out what factories they're going to have, what jobs people are going to have. The government is in control of everything. When they're looking at for whom they're going to produce it, the government actually controls the distribution of all products. The government decides how to use their resources. This has been the type of economic system that is more common in socialist governments. Probably the best example, if you look here on the right, this is the flag from the former Soviet Union. This is the form of government or the form of economic system that was in the former Soviet government. Basically, the Soviet government said, we're going to make bread on Wednesday, people are going to buy bread on Wednesday, and that's all that's going to be available. There's very little choice by consumers. The third kind is a market economy. This one is also a pure market economy, is also pretty rare, because in a pure market economy, literally the people or the consumers are the only ones who answer the questions of production. So when you're looking at what to produce, it is completely and totally up to consumers. When you look at how to produce it, businesses are the ones who choose what they're going to produce, and then if consumers don't buy it, the businesses go out of business. For whom to produce these goods, it's based on consumers' income. If they can afford it, they can buy it. With a pure market economy, individuals are the ones that are in control. There is no government regulation whatsoever, which means that absolutely nothing would be illegal. If there is a market for it, then people can buy it. There's no government regulation over anything that is produced. There's no government regulation over business, so there are no protections for consumers whatsoever in a pure market economy. The fourth kind is a mixed economy. This is what most countries around the world are. In a mixed economy, consumers and businesses sort of in conjunction with each other make those decisions about the economic questions, but there is some government control. Businesses and consumers decide what to produce, but the government sets up regulations to protect consumers from bad products, from products that are unsafe, from businesses taking advantage of them, that kind of thing. When you look at how to produce it, the government sets safety standards. They don't allow, in the United States, things like child labor. There have to be certain work standards in factories and things like that, or the government will step in and fine the companies or shut them down. When you look at who the goods are produced for, it's based on consumers' income, but there's also some government assistance for people who can't afford certain services. There is, with a mixed economy, like I said, there is some government regulation, but it's mostly for the protection of consumers. Now, when you guys come into class on Friday,
let's stop right here, guys, and let's watch the other one that talks about the same thing. But anyway, this is the one that I wanted to play for you guys now. Let's focus on this. Already they mentioned 4, okay? The same one that they mentioned before. But anyway, these are the main ones, economic systems, the principal ones.
Nearly every society in the world faces the same fundamental problem: how to distribute limited resources to people in a way that will be fair and effective. This is what is called scarcity, and different societies approach this problem in different ways. There are 4 essential types of economic systems. The traditional economy is based on culture and rituals and is focused on the community as a whole. Everyone pitches in and benefits from everyone else's efforts. Small societies focused on subsistence farming and hunting are considered traditional economies. An example would be a traditional Inuit village in North America. A command economy relies on the government to make all economic decisions, including allocating and distributing resources and regulating prices and wages. A modern example of a command economy would be North Korea. A market economy is driven by consumers whose decisions determine how the industries and financial markets will operate. Individuals choose how their resources are used, what goods to make, what services to provide, and what jobs to take. In a pure market economy, there is no government involvement. Because of this, there are no true pure market economies. Most societies today have mixed economies, which utilize limited government involvement while also applying free market concepts. One example would be the United States. However, nearly all other countries are some form of mixed economy as well. Each is unique and faces the challenge of finding proper balance between consumer choices and government control.
let's watch. This is the last one. Okay, this, as I said, this is I think this is more, we won't have enough time, but anyway, I'll try to summarize this one. Okay, it's not the same thing, but anyway. Let's move forward. These are the three ones. What I got for you today, guys. To have gather, or at least you know more about what we are going to talk about. Now, next week we're going to talk about the advantages and disadvantages of all of these three economic systems. Okay, so please, guys,